You are watching the API masterclass and we are learning how to build production grade APIs. And today in this line we will learn how to write documentation for our API. So till now we have done a lot of work in building our API, right? But since we as a developer we have the access to the source code, we will know which API is taking what request and what response it will give. But that might not be the case for someone who is using your API. So who will use your API? It will be a front-end team or it will be another API team that is consuming your API, right? So what we need to do? We need to provide some mechanism for them, or technically the API documentation for them, to see what are the list of available APIs, okay, and what is their request and what is their response, and what type of data they are taking, what type of data they are returning, what about their authentication. Okay, so this kind of thing we have to document in one place and share it. Okay, for this we will use something called as a Swagger. Okay, so Swagger is a documentation tool that follows the OpenAPI standard. Okay, so for this, first what we will do, we'll install some package. So I'll take a terminal instance, okay, and I'll say npm install, okay, so Swagger, okay, UI express and YAML.js. So the Swagger UI Express will load the nice UI in which we will represent the information, and YAML.js or this YAML.js, it will help us read the YML file. So what we will do, we will write a YML file to document our API. Okay, so that I will show you. So we'll first install this much. Then so I'll come to project root and here I will add a new file. I'll call it as swagger.yml. Okay, so this is the YAML format in which we'll document our API. Okay, so what I will do, I will not type each and everything, that will be waste of time. So what I will do, I will paste it and then explain line by line what we are doing. Okay, so we will see it line by line. Okay, so this first line is the OpenAPI version. Okay, then there is some information about the API. Okay, so you can add your own information, your own description and title. Then security. So what type of security practice, so what type of security mechanism we are using? So we are using JWT with bearer authentication. Okay, then schema. So here the first schema is participant schema. Okay, it is type object, properties. What are the properties? Name, age and role. So there are few type, description and one example. Okay, similarly age and similarly role. And if you see, role is an enum type, so that is actor, director and producer. So this we have seen in the MongoDB when we created the schema, right? So the same is represented here with some title, with some type and description. Okay, and which of the field is required. So name, age and role is required. Okay, then what security is there? Bearer authentication. Okay, then path. So these are our API path. So slash participants, okay, get. So this is a summary, description and tag. Okay, and then response. What response it will send? Okay, so it will send a list of participants. Okay, and what this will return? The type is array and items is component, schema and participant. So what this is doing? This is referring to this participant schema. Okay, then what we will do? There is a post. Okay, so post is also same thing, summary, description, tag. Okay, now in get we didn't add the security. Okay, but in post, put and delete, if you remember, it is secured authentication. Okay, so here we have added security as bearer auth. Then request body required, content is application/json, and what schema it will take? It will take /component schema participant schema. Okay, this is the request, this is the response. What response it will return? 201. Okay, and the schema type will be this one. This is the schema object that it will return, or 40, 401 or 500. Okay, similarly /participants/id, that is get single participant, right? So here in parameters, what we will take? We will take the id. Okay, and response, what it will return? It will return the component schema and participants. Okay, similarly I have added it for put. Okay, put, and I have added it for delete. Okay, so delete description also I have added. Okay, so what I will do, I will full screen this one and show it line by line, so that if you want you can copy this one. You can pause and copy. Okay, towards the end of the this master class, I'll try to share the source code also. Okay, so I hope you must have copied it by now. If you want, then what we will do, we will come to our index.js. Okay, and what we will do, first we will import the Swagger UI. So what we will do, we will come here and I will say import Swagger UI from Swagger UI Express. This is what we have installed. Okay, and then import YAML from YAML.js. Okay, then I will read the Swagger documentation from the YAML file. Okay, so I will say const Swagger document equals to YAML.load. Okay, load, and I'll provide the file path. So this will be ./swagger.yml. Okay, be careful with the spelling. Then, so we have the app here. What we will do, we will come here before the health check and we will say app.use. So we will attach this as a middleware. Okay, and provide a path. So I'll say docs. So here API address /docs. Okay, this is where all the documents will be served. Okay, then so what we will do, Swagger UI dot serve. Okay, it will serve the Swagger UI, and what setup it will take? So Swagger UI dot setup. Okay, what this will take? It will take the Swagger document. That's all. Now what we will do, our dev server is running. Okay, so we will open a browser. Okay, and we will go to port 8000 and /docs. Okay, so if you see, this is the Swagger page in which we have the API documentation. So this participants is coming from the tag. Okay, so here we have get, post, okay, put and delete, and here we have the schema. So if you check participants, what this is, string, okay, example, age, example, and role. It's type of enum, and it can take actor, director, and producer. and obviously I have done it for participants. I leave it up to you to do it for users and movies. Okay, so since this is a tutorial, I'm just making sufficient enough for you to understand the concept, and if I add it to movies and users, it will just be repetition of the same concept, right? So that's why I have added it only for the participants, but usually we will do it for all our APIs. Okay, so here participants, if you see parameters, it is not taking any parameter, and response, what response it will give, it will give this kind of response. Okay, so what we will do here, there is an option to try it out. Okay, so I clicked on the try out, and then I'll click on execute. Okay, so if I run execute, it will actually run. Okay, and we will get the body. So this is giving us a empty body. Okay, so what we can do, we can create the participant from here. Okay, so if you see request body, this is the expectation. Okay, so what we will do, we will say try it out. Okay, then what we will do, so this is the request that it will send. Okay, so we'll say execute. So can we run this one? No, right? Because it says not authorized. Okay, so for this, what we will do, we have this authorize option here. Okay, so what we will do, we will come to our postman, we will come to login, and we will send a login request. Okay, then what we will do, we will copy this token. Okay, then we will come to our Swagger page, and here we will paste it and click on authorize. Okay, and click on close. Then we will come to post. Then what we will do, we will try to execute this one. Okay, so now when I clicked on execute, it has sent the request and we are getting the response. Okay, then if I come to get all participants, it was giving empty array. So if I execute, okay, I'll get the value here. Okay, so this is not going to serve only the documentation, but here we can also play around with the request and response if we have the proper authentication mechanism. Okay, so this is a very nice way of documenting your API and giving it to the users who are going to use your API. Then we will check another concept, that is linting. So what is a linter? So when you are working in big organization, the coding standard is very important, right? So should you use single quote or should you use a double quote, right? Should you use semicolon or you should not use semicolon? Okay, so if you see here I have not used semicolon, right? And if we check this library, here I have not used semicolon, right? At some place, see here I have used double quote to do the import. Okay, but if you see here I'm using single quote. Okay, so this kind of create chaos between the development team when we do not follow a proper and fixed coding standard. Okay, following a coding standard is very important when you are working on big team. Okay, so to enforce this, what we do something called as linting. So linter is basically, it will check the syntax of your code and it will detect if you have some errors related to the coding standards. Okay, so for this, what we will do, we will install a library. Okay, npm install ESLint. Okay, and should this be a development dependency or prod dependency? So this is something that we as a developer need during the development phase. Okay, this doesn't have a role in production. Okay, so I'll mark it as -d. Okay, now ESLint is installed. Then what I will do, I'll say npx ESLint. Okay, and I'll init it. So -- init. It will ask me a bunch of questions. Okay, So what it is saying, to check syntax only, to check syntax and find problem. So I'll use the second one. So what we are doing, we are using the import export syntax. Okay, so I'll select this one. So what we are doing, React view, none of this. Okay, so I'll say none of this. Does your project use TypeScript? So I'll say no. Where does your code run, browser or Node.js? So it is running in Node.js. Okay, so would you like to install them now? So I'll say yes. Which package manager do you use? So I'm using npm. So with this question being asked, it will initialize the ESLint. Okay, so it has created this ESLint config.js. Okay, so what I will do, I will configure this based on my need. Okay, so I'll remove this one. Okay, so export default. Okay, then what I will do, what files it has to check. Okay, so the file path. Okay, I'll remove this one. Okay, and I will add a object. Okay, and I'll say files. So it will check all the JavaScript files. Okay, then I will take language options. Okay, and add it here. Okay, so I'll add some space here. Okay, so what ECMAScript version, source type is module. Okay, then global process name required and module. So we are using process.env, right? Or we might use / we might use -- right? So these are the globals that we are defining so that it will not throw errors. Okay, then we will add rules. So I will add some rules. Okay, so no unused vars, it will just give a warning. No console off. That means if there are any console added in our log, okay, it will detect that one. Then quotes. Okay, so it is giving single quote, and if there are double quotes, it will throw error. Okay, semicolon always. Okay, so otherwise it will throw error. Okay, and no wait in loop. So these are the rules that I have configured. Okay, then what I will do, I will come to package.json. Okay, I will create a script, okay, which says lint. Okay, and what this will do, this will run ESLint. Okay, then what I will do, I will come here, I will take some space. Okay, and I'll say npm run lint. Let us see what we are getting. And if you see here, language option, this rules, it should be outside of language options. Okay, I added it inside the language options, so I will add it outside the language option in this main object. Okay, then what I will do, I will run this again. Okay, so if you see, there are 108 problems, 99 errors and warning. Okay, so if you see, I'll come to this line, okay, which is user repository and missing semicolon. Okay, so if you see here, there should be a semicolon. Okay, so these are the errors that is available in my code. Okay, errors in the sense, errors in terms of coding standards. Okay, so what I will do, I will come to package.json. Okay, and add another script. Okay, what this will do, this will fix the problem whatever it can. Okay, so this is ESLint. Okay, dash 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 fix. Okay, then I'll come to this terminal. Okay, and I will run npm run lint fix. Okay, so now it has fixed most of the problem, but there are still 9 problems. Okay, so if you see this change set, if you check db.js, okay, so what it has done, it has removed from single quotes, it has removed double quotes and added single quotes. Okay, if you check RabbitMQ, okay, what it has done, it has added semicolon here, it has added semicolon here. Okay, we'll check one more. So delete cron. Okay, so it has added semicolon here and here. Okay, so what it has done, it has fixed all our linter problems. Okay, but there are still 9 problems, 2 errors and 7 warnings. Okay, so let us check. So there are errors. Okay, await cannot use outside an async function. Okay, so if you see here, what we are doing, we are using await on the main script. Okay, this what it is saying, we should use it inside a async function only. Okay, so what we will do, we'll do some refactoring. Okay, so what I will do, I will create a immediately invoked function execution. Okay, and I will mark it as async and create a function body. And here what I will do, I will add these 2 lines, cut and paste. Okay, and I'll listen to this app in this immediately invoked function execution, and I will cut and add this port above this one. Okay, and I'll remove all the additional space from the bottom. Okay, I will come and rerun this one. Okay, so we will run the fix again. Let us see. So now 8 problem. So earlier there were 2 errors, now there is only 1 error. Okay, so in log service also we are using the await at the global scope. Okay, so here await. Okay, so what I will do, I will wrap it this inside an immediately invoked function execution. Okay, then what I will do, okay, and I'll mark this as async. Okay, so now this will fix the error. Then we will run the lint fix. Okay, so now there are only 8 problems. Okay, 8 warnings. Okay, 0 errors and 8 warnings. Okay, so what we will do, we will go here, and what this is saying, error is defined but never used. Okay, so here error is defined but never used. So I will add the error here. Okay, and middleware rate limiter. So what it is saying, next is not used. Okay, so anyways we are not using next, so I will remove it. Okay, like this, what we will do, we will go and fix one by one all of this. Okay, then we have 6 warnings. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I will keep all the fix till here, and I hope you can do all the fix by yourself when you are writing the code. Okay, so this is the basic of having a syntax checker or a linter, which will find linting problems and make sure your code is uniform across development teams. Okay, so this is a common practice when we are doing production grade APIs. Okay, so this is it for this tutorial, and share your thoughts in the comment section. Share this with your friends, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want more such content, and I'll see you in the next video.